devastating and tragic floods in the United States in the past 100 years. At least 90 people have lost their lives. Many others are still missing after catastrophic flash flooding Friday morning along the Guadalupe River. This time-lapse video shows just how quickly the waters rose there, swamping a highway in a matter of minutes. The Guadalupe River rose by 26 feet in just 45 minutes, catching countless people by surprise. Here's how some people have described what happened.
Opened the door and the water was up to the door. Ran to my room, grabbed some boots, and came back, and water was coming in the door. I just felt the whole house pick up, and been on a lot of boats, and it felt like I was in a boat.
So I said, we need to get out of the house. So I grabbed my wife, and we literally jumped in the water, and it swept us down to about 200 feet down that way. And there's a crepe myrtle tree that we grabbed hold of, and we waited for rescue. I literally pulled out my waterproof phone and started calling people going, hey, get Swiftwater Rescue to come get us, because we are like in extremis. We are in bad shape.
We just saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything. We saw like a whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew like things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis.
As I'm sure you've heard, many of the victims are from Camp Mystic. That's an all-girls Christian summer camp. In a statement, the camp says that 27 girls have been killed in the flood. 10 are still missing. The camp's director died trying to save his campers from the flood. His grandson wrote in a statement this, quote, if he wasn't going to die of natural causes, this was the only other way, saving the girls that he so loved and cared for. His impact will never leave the lives he touched. Now, the entire region is in the midst of an all-hands-on-deck rescue effort with locals from all walks of life pitching in.
You know, I've got 2 babies at home. It's the least I could do. You know, they're home safe, and there's people out there that they're missing their children or their family members. So I feel like it's the least I could do to help.
Being able to find the remains and perhaps let their families know some clarity on what exactly happened for sure. I know if I was in that situation myself, it would bring me some closure knowing definitively what happened instead of continuously holding out, wondering if the one I love is still out there.
Today, much of the area remains under a flood watch again, with 2 to 4 inches of rain possible, up to 10 inches in some places, as locals and first responders face harrowing conditions. Questions are also swirling, though, about the initial response. Texas officials initially blamed the National Weather Service for failing to predict the amount of rainfall. On that, NBC News reports this, quote, independent meteorologists and a former NWS official said warnings issued in the run-up to the flooding were about as timely and accurate as could be expected with the weather data available in real time. However, the New York Times reports this, quote, crucial positions at the local offices of the National Weather Service were unfilled as severe rainfall inundated parts of central Texas on Friday morning, prompting some experts to question whether staffing shortages made it harder for the forecasting agency to coordinate with local emergency managers as floodwaters rose. Compounding the issue, what looked like a shrug from Donald Trump when he was confronted with questions about the possibility that the federal government fell short in warning Texas residents and that his administration's gutting of federal agencies might hamper efforts to respond to emergencies like this one. Watch that.
President, are you still planning to phase out FEMA?
Well, FEMA is something we can talk about later. But right now they're busy working, so we'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
Are you investigating whether some of the cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service or in the emergency coordination?
No, they did not. They did. I'll tell you, if you look at that what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe. And it's just so horrible to watch.
That's where we start today with Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez, his district neighbors out of Kerr County. Also joining us, MSNBC senior political analyst, Texas resident through and through, Matthew Dowd is here. But we're going to start with my colleague, NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler in Kerrville, Texas. Ryan, take us through what's happening right now.
Well, people hold on to hope here. It is still an active search and rescue operation. Officials say they're still in the primary phase of this search. Now 4 days after so many people tragically lost their lives, they're still looking for any signs of life, but increasingly likely it seems they're trying to recover bodies. The number of missing people has gone down as the death toll rises to 90 now. It's just unbelievable to look out at the destruction that this river left. People here have an incredible amount of anguish and anxiety. Families want more answers about what happened to their loved ones, but they almost fear those because with every update, we learn of